Hey, I'm Gav from Gav Takes Photos, and today we're going to be looking at the filters I use when I'm out and about shooting landscapes or shooting whatever, and try and find some use cases around this park, which I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of. I'm going to put it there. I don't know, you tell me how you'd pronounce that in the comments, but yeah, let's have a look around and I'll show you some of the filters and take a deeper look into my kit. How interesting. Right, so first off, I carry most of my filters in a little pouch like this. I've got two of these. They're just some cheap pouches I got off of Wish, because I went out and I bought the Wish filters. You know those cheap ones you see? They're like £4 and you get a purple one and a UV filter, and you also get a nice polarizing filter. Well, I say nice, it works. Yeah, that's about it. Obviously I've got rid of those now, and I'm only using quality filters. So first filter we're going to look at is my Tide Optics. Oh, it's smudged. Tide Optics CPL polarizing filter. I love this thing. This is great if you're shooting waterfalls or streams, as I do often. This can remove the glare from the stream and give it a nice deep colour to it, which is great, I think. Removes that harsh whiteness off the edge. Also, if you're shooting woodland and it's either the sun's out, like it is today, it's a harsh sun, or it's just rained, you can remove the glare from the leaves and it gives the greens and the browns a much deeper saturated look, and I find that quite pleasing personally. I mean, you might like the glare on the leaves, but I like that deep saturation. Gives me a little bit more to play with in post. The second filter in this little pouch I have here, if I can get it out, is another Tide Optics, because I like Tide. Tide Optics Cine Soft filter. Now this gives everything a nice filmic, sort of dreamy look to it. Let's see if I can hold it in front. Does it look any different? I can't tell on the small screen over there, but whoosh, whoosh. Any different? Can you see any difference? Now, I don't typically use this for what it's supposed to be used for. I use this if I'm shooting astrophotography in the stars, because it makes the larger stars in the constellations pop more, and it does cancel out a few of the smaller stars, but the larger stars look much more vibrant. It shows the colours better in the sky, and again, for me, it's just it's really good. I do prefer having that effect. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea to have that, but again, it's all preferences, and that's what I use it for. Now, the third filter that usually sits in that pouch is actually on the camera right now. It's my variable ND, and I'll use this typically for video work, for YouTube like this, where I need to get the correct shutter speed for the frame rate I'm shooting. Typically that'll be 24 frames a second, 50 shutter speed, and it gets you the right sort of motion blur, because anything else looks a bit jittery and horrible, really. And I also use it to get a slower shutter speed if I'm shooting a waterfall, or if I want to do any sort of motion blur in a shot and it's too bright outside like it is today. So that's typically what I'll use this for. You can use normal NDs, but I tend to use the variable one because it's just easier to have one filter that does quite a few different stops of light on it. Admittedly, it's not the best quality compared to just a standard ND filter, but you got to weigh up what you need, and this suits my use case a lot better. I'd rather have this than a whole bunch of different filters in my bag, although I do have a bunch of different filters in my bag, but whatever, that is whatever. I'm going to show you what this looks like if I take this off, because this is the correct settings for what I'm shooting. So just unscrew this, and as you can see, it looks horrible. It's so overexposed. Just hi. It's not good, is it? Whee! So yeah, that's you can see why you use this. But wow, okay, let's go for a walk around and have a little look-see. I've got more filters to talk about. Alright, so as you can probably tell, different location, different hat, different time of day too. Someone, and I'm not going to point fingers, forgot to empty the memory card earlier. so I kind of ran out of space, which is a thing. But that has let me come here at a time of day where I can use a different filter that makes more sense. There we go. So what we have here is the Kokin P series filters. I'm using a graduated ND to try and balance the very bright sky and the not so very bright foreground. Just line that up. It's not going to be the most amazing shot in the world, but I quite like the colour on those clouds out there, so like I said, not the most amazing shot there is. It's really, there we go, get that water tower in shot. Roll of thirds, boom, just like that. Right, so I'm using f5.6, ISO 200, which is the base ISO of this camera. I believe that's 1/13 of a second, and this is ND8 grad filter on, and I think that looks pretty sweet right there. Tell me what you think. I'll pop it up now. Now there were a couple of other filters that I carry around with me. Obviously I've got the Kokin series here. I've got just a bunch of grad NDs that all slide in, because I find that the square filters are actually easier to get where you need them to be with the grad NDs. I'm trying to get everything in camera these days rather than faffing around with multiple exposures. Admittedly, multiple exposures might be the better option, but I feel like this is more pleasing because I don't have to mess around and blend stuff in, and I know it's only a couple clicks, but I'm really trying to not do that nowadays. But yeah, here's some of the filters that I don't really use. Also, this might look a lot lighter on the camera than it is. It's actually getting quite dark now, but the iPhone's HDR is really good. Now, going against what I just said about grad NDs and getting square ones, I have this circular reverse grad ND, and I saw that online for a pretty good price, and I've not actually used it yet, so yeah, I might stick that on now, come to think of it. Now obviously with these circular grad NDs, you need to get the part of your image dead center almost with where the actual grad bit happens, because unlike with the square filters where you can sort of move the graduated bit around, these ones always are going to sit dead center. I mean, you might like that, you might not. I personally prefer to be able to move the point of the grad bit around so I can control the exposure better, not have to potentially always rule the exposure on horizon here, center. I'm probably just being picky, because knowing me, I am very picky. Alright, that's there. Yep, bish bash bosh. Beautiful, beautiful. I do have 2 more filters, which is a lie. I've got a lot more filters on me, but these are the last 2 we're going to really look at here. So these were sent to me, which is quite nice, and I'm yet to use them yet, and I've had them for a year. So these are from Kenko. We got a nice sort of red filter. It's supposed to be for twilight, which it is now, and this is the first time I've actually been out with these at twilight. So I've got the red. This is blue. Why does it look red? All right, this is the twilight blue filter. God, I'm losing my mind today. So twilight blue filter. All right, don't know why that looks red to me. Maybe I'm losing my mind. they look the same. I'm losing my mind. And this is the Twilight Red, so we're going to stick these on the camera and see what it exactly is that they do, because they're supposed to be for this time of day, so they should do something. I am going to keep the reverse grad ND on there though, because otherwise I'm just going to have a really overexposed sky or a really underexposed foreground. Neither of which is great, so we'll go to blue on first. So the blue filter's on, and that's giving a really interesting looking shot, to be honest. Obviously it's not realistic colour wise at all, but interesting colours nonetheless. So let's get that shot. .2 of a second. I quite like that. One more for luck. There we go. And let's switch over to the red one and see how much of a difference it makes, because this one's making everything purple, which I quite like. We'll see what this one does. Alright, so the red one's on and it's made everything go red. Don't really know what I was expecting for that, but hey ho. I'm having to up the exposure every time I swap filter because the light's dropping that quickly. And now there's a plane. But I am right next to Stansted Airport, so it's to be expected. I don't know if I like that. I don't know. Let me hold the blue one in front of it. Just see what that does. Just to make it look darker, but no, that's too much even for me, and I like messing with colours. One more. And that's that. I've not seen these edited up, so you'll see these timeline wise, you'll see these before I do technically, but I'll see them before you because I've got to edit them. Whatever, tell me what you think of them, if you actually liked either of the Kenko filters. I'm not sure. Obviously they've got a place in the world, but I don't know how much I'll be using these. But they always come with me anyway, just in case. So filter wise, that's all the ones I've got on me right now that I can use. Maybe. Tell a lie. I've got this Cood. It's a 100mm square filter, because basically the 7 to 14mm lens for the Olympus line doesn't actually take screw-on lenses. It's got a big old lens with a big bulbous front to it. So I'm currently building, I don't know where this is going to go, building a filter holder to go in front of it, because most of the filter holders that are made to fit it are custom made, 3D printed, or the ones that aren't 3D printed are just really expensive. So I've decided to try and build one using a Zomi 100mm filter holder, and basically gluing that to a bit of pipe and using some foam, and it's just it's a thing. But if it works, I'll do a video on it and a little update to the filter situation, because I'd quite like that to work. That's the light diffuser, so I can get the stars to pop with the 7 to 14, because that's supposed to be my Astro landscape lens. So it would be quite nice if I could actually get that working. Yeah. So those are the filters I carry. It's just a brief glimpse into some of the gear that I carry with me. What filters do you use? What are your most go-to, most used filters? I'm interested to hear what everyone else uses. It's always nice to know what other people are using and just get a glimpse into other people's gear. Even though gear isn't the most important part, but it does help. It does. Ignore what they say. Good gear helps a lot. Right, I'm going to stay out here and shoot some stars in a bit, so I'm going to go get something warm to drink, I reckon, because it's getting a bit nippy. I've been Gaff and Gaff Takes Photos, and I will see you in the next video. I'm leaning on my camera. Bye.